Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between. Welcome back to Roll With It. Tonight we'll be presenting episode 9 of Gaecia, Homemade Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition campaign. I'm Crazy Ferret, your dungeon master for this evening. I'm in this boat and I'll be your guide through it. I very much hope you enjoy your stay. With me tonight is Britty.
Hi, I'm Britty. I'm still the token American. Probably always will be. Tonight I'm playing Fleet of Foot, the third level Way of the Open Hand monk, because I'm basic.
Riley.
Hello, I am Riley. I, as always, will be playing Gareth Sebastian Lieb von Knuckelstamp, the warlock. Noble, definitely, both of those. Also level 3 with a lot of customizability things.
I think it's right. He is actually a warlock.
He is a warlock.
Yes, he is a warlock.
He just doesn't fully realize it yet. He's
That's
getting
what
there.
Society wants you to think.
Well,
That's what they want you to think.
yeah. Okay, Matt.
Evening all, I'm Matt. I'll be playing Phoenix White, level 3 Fire Ganassi Divination Wizard, and a serial denier of gifts.
Nat.
Hello there, I'm Nat. I will be playing Althaea, the Bard Cleric multi-class. She's an Aasimar, so at some point I get to have wings. That's fun. My job is to keep the rest of the idiots alive.
Emphasis on the word idiots.
Lumie.
Hi, I'm Lumie. I'll be playing Urashi Broketooth, who is probably the biggest idiot. She is half-orc barbarian. I still don't actually know how her subclass works, but it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Cool.
So proud of you.
We don't have any announcements for the beginning of our stream, so we'll hop right in. Last time, our burgeoning group of adventurers entered the capital city of Akran, known as Aethway, and there they kind of finished the journey that they had started from Lantern, where they delivered the Tabaxi child Hope safely to her destination, which was the main temple to Esme here in Akran. So once that was completed, they were commissioned by the church to gather certain rare components to help forge this amulet that will kind of help protect Hope from all the nasty people who want to get her and use her spontaneous owlware producing powers for evil. So they kind of eventually decided
The kid does.
that they will take up this mission. They will take so once you can see on the map they've got a vague plan how you want to go. So as you can see, it's quite a trip. They are currently here. This little red black blob. Yes. So they had some time in the city to see a play that I think only 2 of them actually enjoyed. And they got some supplies and stuff for heading on their way. Now, about a day's journey out from Akran, they were met in the middle of a road by this table. It seemed like a regular dinner table that had been set up to serve like afternoon tea, except it was in the middle of the road and there was nobody about. So after some cautious approach, the party eventually decided to sit down, except for Phoenix, and they were joined at this table by 2 figures who they believe were kind of illusions created by the gods Esme and Tamalia to talk with the party and to present them with some gifts. The only one not sat at the table, Phoenix the only one who has not yet to open his. They kind of gods kind of thanked the party for what they did with Hope, and told them that they had a longer journey ahead of them and many important things to do, hence why they're giving them these gifts. And they were eventually gods eventually said goodbye, and then the party were left to their own devices as the table kind of dematerialized. And that was where we were, kind of getting ready to set off again.
Phoenix still
the
hasn't
one is
touched his
still-
box.
oh.
You tried to press it into my hands, and I threw it on the floor and got on the cart.
Bah humbug to you two.
I believe one of us had picked it up and put it in the cart, or probably a cart away from Phoenix for fear of
There's
him
3 carts.
throwing it out again.
Yeah. You can put one in a cart that does not have a Phoenix. Okay, so are we just setting off on our way?
I think so. Ash is still quite confused about the entire encounter, but she's not complaining.
Sure.
She is particularly puzzled by Phoenix, though, as I imagine everyone else is.
All right. So you kind of finish off your day's journey. Eventually, you find a place to camp for the evening. It's no, sorry, you're on the main road. You find a hostel on which you can stay for the evening. So obviously that would be 5 silver, I believe, is the price to a hostel. Yes. Unless there's anything else to do, we will carry on with the journey to Swordturn. So stop me unless you if you have something particularly you want to do. But I assume you're all attuned to your fancy new items in the evening.
Oh yeah.
So you can start counting off any time
Yeah.
factors you may or may not have.
Well, all.
That most of us will have.
Right, yeah. So unless there's any objections, we shall skip ahead a few days. It'll be the 21st.
As a point, Phoenix would have been less talkative than usual.
So you kind of pass the 6 days. They go relatively amicably. You stay at a hostel each night, so obviously that'd be another 3 gold apiece total for your lodgings. And then
That's starting to get painful.
I mean, you can always camp on the floor. So
Actually, going to ask that because Ash has absolutely no problem with just sleeping outside.
sure. Do you
So
have,
she might do that, or she'll
do
set
you
up
have
something
your
in one of her carts, I guess.
I mean, do you have your own rations? That'd be the
I believe so.
okay. As long as you can
should
mark
do,
off.
yeah.
As long as you keep
I have
track of rations,
some
then
rations.
that's fine.
Okay.
But
I mean,
yes,
also, I'm not averse to her buying food. She just doesn't see the point in buying
I mean, yeah,
board or a room.
fair enough. Okay. But yes, these 6 days pass. The weather is slightly getting colder. The leaves are starting to turn brown on a lot of the trees you pass. We are decidedly into autumn now. Eventually, you will see kind of in the distance the Swordturn looming up ahead of you. Althaea would definitely know this. And but Swordturn hub of Akran, so that's where the military college is. It's where a lot of the guards and soldiery who police Akran are trained. While the official kind of political center of the military, almost well with the generals and stuff, is still in Aethray. This is where a lot of training happens. There's a school of magic here, specializing in kind of war magic, that kind of thing. There's also a lot of blacksmiths, carpenters, armorers, weaponsmiths, that kind of thing here as well. And as you kind of go down into the city, it is clear that this was built by soldiers. Streets are incredibly uniform. There is very little in kind of variation from building to building, kind of down a street. It looks, what is by no means a fortress, it looks a lot more defendable than most cities of its size would be. It's probably
Sounds like a
comparable.
challenge.
You're not going to siege it on your own. I'm sorry.
Ash can.
I mean, for being a much smaller city, it is probably comparably defensive to Aethway. Yes, as you kind of walk down, the people themselves aren't all soldiers by any means, but you definitely get the feel this is a military city built by soldiers, and there's probably a lot of military thinking in kind of the governance of the city. Is there anything particular people like to do in this city?
As is her usual, Ash, I think, just wants to have a really good look around because there's some cool stuff here that she hasn't seen before. And like, obviously, being from where she is, I guess she's probably going to quite like the military organization, although she is a hunter-gatherer, so the setup of it will be completely unfamiliar to her. So I imagine she's going to find that absolutely fascinating.
Well, yes, the grid system, it kind of, because that's how it's built, like initially starts like, oh yeah, it just makes lots of sense until you eventually go, hang on, this street looks the same as the street 5 streets back. Or is it 6? Oh, wait, how many streets away are we staying?
Yeah,
So while it is kind of, while it is convenient and logical, it is also a bit disorientating due to the uniformity.
excellent. She'll get lost and have lots of fun.
Yeah, compared to probably the main source of trouble making in the city. So kind of whether or not it's pleasant to live here very much depends on whether you like uniformity. This is a city where it's difficult to sell something at a higher or lower price than normal. So kind of there's a lot of standards for goods and trade and stuff. So apple being sold by vendor in like one side of the city is probably it's very similar quality and very similar price to an apple sold on the far side of the city or pretty much anywhere else. So there's kind
Well,
of a
yeah,
lot
of
these
course. That's because
uniformity,
both of the apple sellers are wearing black turtlenecks.
Exactly. Yes. So it's kind of quite good for that, and like there's a lot of fair, reasonable trade that happens here. So it depends whether you're the kind of person who likes when things are murky, and you're like, oh yes, I'm going to sell my apple for 5 gold, barrel or whatever, or whether you're the kind of person who just likes things being the same and correct. So yeah, that's the general vibe of living here. It's not too bad, but little of interest happens. Maybe it's better way.
Okay, cool. Ash doesn't like this place. She won't say that though. She'll,
Yeah.
she'll thank the guy for his time. Say that's certainly and well, different than what I'm used to. Anyway, thank you for enlightening me. And then she will wander off, feeling slightly dejected.
Anybody else doing anything else?
This place isn't good for trade, so I don't think Althea's. I think she knows to just sort of like get here, stay here, move on.
Cool.
Yareth equally probably have a little bit of a wander. Probably nothing as much as. Would I have seen the statue of Esme?
Yeah, it's not hard to find. As I say, it's on top of a hill.
Cool.
Is it accurate?
Right. So
Would
are
I-
we staying at the? Sorry, were you saying something?
Is it
I'm
accurate?
debating. It's not like the person we saw. Ferret said that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to decide whether or not Yareth would try and sneak a peek at what Fennett's present was. I mean, if it's just been abandoned on a cart and Fennett's is like gone, then Yareth will unwrap a little bit of it and see if he can see what it is.
Great. So you're trying to do it so you can wrap it up again later?
Ideally,
Okay. Sleight of hand.
that's a 17.
Yeah, so you kind of take a look at the runes kind of around it, like, oh yeah, it's just standard. You kind of undo that. You kind of just peel up kind of one on the side and have a peek in. It's what appears to be a tome of some kind. It's thick-ish, and possibly most of an inch. It seems to be fairly standard. It doesn't look particularly fancy on the cover, just a fairly basic leather-bound tome.
Fair enough. Yeah, Yareth will try and rewrap it and then go and join the rest wherever everyone else
I mean,
is.
you're satisfied that it's not that it doesn't look like it's been tampered with.
Yeah.
All right. Are we staying at the Murrayfall Association pub here? Or tavern rather, not pub. I keep saying pub.
Probably.
Cool. The Sorten branch is the hog on a spit. So the sign depicts literally a hog with an apple in its mouth on a spit. Yeah, as you go in, it's a very standard Murrayfall Association kind of fare. So a lot more mixed, various kinds of races and stuff here as well. Cool. We doing anything else in here, or are we moving on?
Don't know about the rest of you. I'm starting to get a bit light on coin. Are we pressing on through to
How much did you need?
How light is light, chap?
I can make it through to the next town. I was just wondering if we were intending to stop, look for a bit of work here, or just pushing straight through.
We can, if you want. What's another couple days to an already late return, I suppose?
No, I'm perfectly happily just...
Is there's a statue of the man that we met on the journey here, and looks nothing like the bastard. So there's a good chance that who we met wasn't a god, if that's what you had issue with.
Or the statue builders have never seen their likeness. It's not uncommon.
There's a chance. Look, all I'm saying is don't rule out what might be a lovely gift just because of who sent it.
So now we're accepting gifts. So now we're accepting gifts under false pretenses. That's much better.
Look, Phoenix, all I'm saying is it would. I don't know about everyone else, but mine is really cool, and I would hate for you to miss out on something that would be really cool for you, chap.
Phoenix, what is?
I'll drop it.
What is your aversion to accepting this? And if anyone else asks that question, it would be accompanied by an "if you don't mind my asking." But Ash doesn't give a shit if you mind, so she's just asking.
Phoenix will lean back in his chair for a moment, just kind of thinking on the question. Let me pose you a hypothetical.
Go on.
Say you come from a people who rely on a resource. Let's say food. This resource is getting scarce. Very scarce. Enough that your people are dying. It looks pretty hopeless. There's no chance of this resource ever coming back. Then you grow up a bit and you find out this resource isn't just going away. The food isn't just vanishing. Someone's driving it off. Someone's stealing the food, turning it into something else, taking it away from your people.
Like if someone drove the boar out of my old woodland.
Yeah, something like that. And then you grow up a bit more, and you find out the people who have been driving off that boar, depriving it from your people, they're actually the people in charge. They own all the boars. They can do whatever they want with them, more than they need. And you finally run into one of these people. And they're holding a tea party in the forest, without a care in the world.
I'm starting to think that this is less hypothetical than actual.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, Ash is also confused by this. Here's a hypothetical situation, and then Phoenix clearly describing his life. Oh, yeah, but Phoenix, surely that means if they're giving something to you, you should take it. You owe them absolutely nothing. I know you don't want to feel that they owe you anything either, but doesn't it make sense to take something from them that might make you stronger? You don't have to take it with pure intentions, my friend.
I said my thoughts back in that table. I don't want anything from them.
Oh, but you can want something for yourself that just so happens to come from them. What if that thing is the difference in a year's time between you saving your people or not? Your decision. It's your decision. I think there is no resource that should be turned down. That is all.
I didn't set out of my village on some noble, pure-hearted quest to save my people. It stings. It has, since as long as I've known about it. But if I do, if I somehow, miraculously, find a way to help my people, it's not going to be because of the people who caused it in the first place. They can either fix it themselves, or I'll do it myself.
Well,
Okay.
where I grew up, there are some scarce resources. Farming is not easy. But we make do, and whenever someone comes by with extra food or extra water, it doesn't particularly matter who they are, what they might have done in the past.
We'll ambush them.
No, we buy it from them. We accept it if they gift it to us, because that's what you do when resources are scarce. You take what you can get until you get to a spot where you can pick and choose where stuff comes from.
There is no more of this resource.
What
It's
is
not
the
coming back.
resource? What is it?
I don't know how familiar you are with the... It's called the Elemental Chaos.
Yep, no, I have no idea. Yarth?
Would I have any idea?
I feel like Yarth would fake having an idea.
So-
I'm asking if Yareth knows.
Elite can roll history, be a low DC for Yareth because of your background.
Natural 1 for a 5.
No.
Oh, bloody hell, Riley.
That was a 12.
My rolls are brilliant. I don't know what you're talking about.
You rolling, Althaea?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Urashi.
I might have said Urashi. I meant Althaea.
No.
I also think you said Urashi, but I ignored it because I knew you wouldn't have a clue.
We have no idea.
Done.
I probably mistake. Okay. Riley and Althaea, whoosh. Britty, you might have heard something similar, but meh.
It sounds familiar. It's somebody talked about it at some point, but I don't remember.
It's what existed before the world did. It, in a way, gave birth to my people, sustained us. And then the gods used that elemental chaos to create the world. Or that's how the stories go, at least.
Wait,
Yeah.
so your people existed before the gods did?
Not as we are now, but our ancestors.
And
As
this
soon as you say ancestors, Ash is immediately far more interested.
and this chaos stuff is just gone. They used all of it.
What little remains is still sustaining my people, but it dries up more and more every day.
And
There's a reason you don't see many Gaecia around.
and you said that the gods had used it to create the world as we know it.
Like I said, that's how the stories go. That's how it was told to me.
So, forgive if this sounds stupid. I'm not the brightest, but why wouldn't you just ask them if there was any chaos left and where to find it? We were talking to them.
They're gods, aren't they? They know what's happening. They know exactly what their actions cause.
Yeah.
They're the ones with the power to fix it.
So
And they don't.
why not?
In fact, they not just don't, they dangle it in my face and throw gifts at me. As if that's making it up somehow.
Phoenix, I don't think they're trying to make anything up to you. I really don't. I don't
Then
know
what
what I don't have a clue what their intentions are with giving us these things. I'm sure they're not just out of the. Yeah, I'm sure they're not just because they like giving things. But I don't think it's because they owe you anything.
Good. Then refusing the gift has no complications.
May I ask, chap, and please tell me if this is insensitive, but you've heard this from your, I'm assuming, parents, grandparents. They've heard it from theirs, and so on and so on and so on. Would it not be wise to hear about it from the horse's mouth, as it were, from a god, and see if their story is the same?
They didn't seem in a very explanatory mood.
Well, next time, if it happens, there's loads around somewhere. Can always ask.
He'll look at least considering at that.
They might even apologize.
I mean, it's better to
As
ask
if that
and
was
find
worth
out.
the words that were written on.
I agree that an apology for all of that is a lot. I don't think a lifetime of apologies would be enough. Maybe there's some other way to restore the life. I don't know.
Fine. Next time we run into a god on the road, I'll ask them.
I'm not going to force you.
Ash chuckles at that, then carries on looking confused.
I appreciate that you're open to ask, at the least. I know this is probably not something that's easy for you. I would encourage that you at least look at the thing before you accept or refuse it, because if it's powerful stuff, like supposedly what the rest of what we have, then maybe it can help us get Hope to safety faster, if not, at the very least, get you to where you want to be.
I believe they said that all of the gifts weren't entirely from the gods either.
Yeah, that was a weird little add-on, wasn't it? Because
And whoever it was from,
It was very specific, yes.
is it possible that your ancestors left something for you?
that just raises other questions.
It does. But it's still a possibility.
Well, there you go. There's a lot of questions to lay at the feet of the gods, but isn't that always the case?
Seems to be. I just never thought I'd get to ask them directly. I always assumed that was a sort of metaphorical thing, like, oh, you know, everybody has questions, not everybody has answers. That sort of thing.
I have a question. I have a question.
What's your question?
And Ash directs this question towards Althea, although it's not really any reason to. She just does. Althea, what does he mean? Straight from the horse's mouth. Horses can't talk.
That's what you have a question about.
At least, I don't think. Yes.
I don't know.
Oh.
It's a
It's
a
a figure
turn-
of speech.
turn of phrase.
No, but I mean, I don't know where
what?
it came from.
Oh, I could tell you
I
that.
mean, neither do I, but it's just one of those things people say.
Yeah. It's a what?
A figure of speech, like
A what?
yeah, like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Why are
Um,
there
a
so
bu-
many horses in your language?
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Those sort of
What?
things.
What does this mean? That's
Okay.
both in and out of character. I don't know what that one means.
Neither do I with the last one. I believe, though, and this is a
Yeah.
Yarathism, I believe a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush means that something having is worth as much as observing two of its kind. Such as,
Right, so like if I shoot a deer, it's better than looking at two deer.
I was going to suggest
That
that
makes
such as,
perfect sense, yes. But
such as
why?
ha- such as
birds,
having
though.
having a
Not much
gift
meat
from
on a bird. Why do you need a bird?
such as having a gift from an otherworldly entity is worth looking at two of them. It's sort of, he says that half jokingly, shooting a wink at Phoenix. Just,
I mean,
hey.
I don't know
too
where.
Too soon. Okay.
I don't know where that one came from, but I can tell you where the horse one came from. When we traded horses
Sounds
back
like druid
home,
nonsense.
when we traded horses back home, you could look at their teeth to see how healthy they were. So if you wanted, someone could tell you about how great a horse is, but if you wanted to know how good the horse actually was, you just looked at the horse's mouth. You got the
No, I
truth of
believe
it.
that one's the origin of "Don't look a gift horse in the mouth."
Is
Wait,
it?
Wyatt, what?
Oh no, that one does make sense. Because if somebody gives you a horse, you shouldn't go and check how old it is because they've given you something. You should just be grateful for the gift, right? That's what that one is. I don't
Exactly.
understand why
You know
Yara
what,
talks
Ash?
About talking horses. Why would a talking horse be relevant to us speaking to a god that may or may not hate Phoenix?
You know what, Ash? With the gift
I
horse,
don't
you
see where the
were
talking horse comes in.
you were absolutely correct.
That is a very good question. And the answer is, and then Yareth just takes a massive gulp of his drink.
Yay, we're 20
Oh.
loaded.
Okay. Right.
Well, I know the world wasn't made in a day, but I hope at some point, Phoenix, you can, at the very least, take a look at what you've got.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Neither would
That's
I.
another one.
Holding your breath is how you stop breathing. As far as I know, breathing's good for you.
Depends what you're breathing.
Too much talk of turn of phrases and figures of speech. I'm tired.
Although this is rather circular to the point. This is rather circular to the point of: are we sticking around looking for a bit of work, or are we pressing on through?
Ah, yeah.
Perhaps
Uh,
something to take our minds off recent events could be beneficial.
also, there seems to be plenty of. Oh my god, Britty, that was hilarious!
Someone just sent Britty to the Phantom Zone.
Your connection's gone all funny, so all we heard there was ah!
Oh dear.
Like in chunks.
All right.
Oh dear.
Sorry
So,
about this. Folks seem to be having some technical difficulties with our
Yeah.
stream host.
What a shock. And aren't we having technical difficulties?
1K ping. Oh my god. That's a second. I think. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Right. So what are we doing?
Well, I suppose if we're looking for a bit of work, then something to, as you said, take the mind off. This is the place to do it. Phoenix will walk over to the bartender.
Hello. What can I do for you?
Hi. I suppose making use of your facilities and seeing if there's any work available.
Work? Depends exactly what you're looking for.
Something for the adventurous sort.
Adventurous sort. Right. Well, give me a moment. You'll kind of reach down and you'll bring up a kind of book. It seems to, as you kind of leaf through it, it seems to be kind of one minute, ledger. That's the word. You kind of got various details of jobs kind of listed in it. You can see most of them as you leaf through have been crossed out. But you kind of gets about halfway through and it gets into a lot less crossed out. He kind of picks through it a little bit. So you're after hunting the beast, finding a artifact, like what kind of adventuring work are you after?
I don't think we're anything that specialized. Just something that won't take us more than a day.
More
Under-
than a day, more than
Under
a day.
ideal circumstances.
Okay. Give me a moment to think. Yeah, so there's this wizard down at the university. He's looking to test some atoms out. He's looking for people that know how to use them to see how effective they are. So that'd be a couple hours.
Sounds ideal. We'll take it.
Sure. All right. So he'll give you a name and address and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you kindly. Is there a commission on these, or are you just holding them?
Oh no, I just hold them. It's good for business. People coming in looking for work. Obviously, often buy a drink as they do. So
True. And he'll put down 2 copper for a cider.
yeah. All right. So same as all the other Rayfall Association, it is 8 silver to sleep here, and you'll get fed as well. So the morning will dawn bright and early. Yeah, so you looking to complete your job then? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'll have let the others know about the job, and then we'll head over to the university.
All right. Okay, so
Unless there's objections.
None from here.
okay, so yeah, you kind of wander over. Eventually, you'll get to see this wizard. Yeah, so you spend about 3 hours of your morning kind of helping out the testing. So some of what is the first thing is a shield. So it kind of clips onto your arm, but it looks kind of like just a large, almost. So it looks like a bracelet with a large kind of circular bit with a design on. However, when you activate it, it kind of folds out, and it makes kind of a small sized shield. So it's kind of intended for use, so you can kind of, oh look, I'm at the party, I'm dressed up all fancy, but oh no, bandits, oh, I got a shield to defend myself with, kind of thing. Another one is a specific dagger, so it's kind of one that's meant to aid you in hitting your target more easily. So he kind of has a couple of you kind of deliberately aiming your dagger kind of away from the center of the target to see how much it kind of deviates towards it. So it's kind of a refinement of the process for like making plus X weaponry. And the final item is a helm that kind of, when you speak the command word, will kind of start to emit light, and then obviously turn off when you turn it off. So those are 3 items you test. You spend a morning helping it out to see how good a job you do. I'm going to ask for 5 skill checks, and then you decide between you who makes which check. So I'm going to ask for Arcana, because it's magic items.
Yeah, I imagine Phoenix would be talking shop with the wizard as the others kind of test the items.
Can I have athletics, so kind of the physical activity?
Hell yeah, you can.
I have investigation, perception, kind of looking at the items, considering their performance and
Was
stuff.
that? Sam, sorry. Was that investigation or perception?
And perception. So I
Okay.
want to both of them. And then finally, let's say persuasion to see how good of a kind of impression you make on this guy.
Well, I know
So
who
I'll let
should
you
be rolling our
decide.
persuasion.
So I'll let you decide who.
Great
gets your
minds there.
perception one.
I tried that as you said it.
My God.
I
I
believe you.
volunteer for athletics.
I can do
I'll take
perception.
Arcana.
Show me what I can do.
Imagine Yareth is probably best suited for the investigation.
I'm down.
Persuasion.
Yee.
Which means Britty and Althaea have to decide who's doing perception and persuasion.
I'm happy to do persuasion.
Yeah, my persuasion is a fat plus
Bard
0.
time. Oh, mine's -2. I think I should roll it.
I'll
Okay.
do perception. I've got a 4.
All right.
Good start.
Eee.
What is it with my boy?
Oh gosh.
Oh man. Can the great persuasion roll save us?
I mean, we're still technically above average.
Tell you what, I'm actually going to use an inspiration on that.
Yes!
Hey.
Much
okay.
better.
I'm not going to use mine. I only have 1. I'm not using it on that.
An 11 still above 10.
Just
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
hashtag quick maths.
so that sums to 72. So for your 3 hours of time, and some of you like helpful. So Riley, you kind of spot an error. Phoenix, he definitely enjoys talking shop with you and kind of discussing the theories and stuff. And Althaea as well, you kind of leave him with a good impression. So between you, that's I just forgot what I said. Did I say 72?
And Ash and Fleet are just
Yeah,
there.
72.
Yeah, we're helping out.
We get 72 gold as a group.
It's just there to look pretty while everyone else does the work.
We're the bodybuilders. They're the
Did you
brains.
say he's there to look pretty or there to look witty?
Yes.
So that's 14 gold, 4 silver each.
Cool. Yeah. So it's a good morning's work, you feel.
Yeah, that'll tide me over till Kasmir.
So, by spending a bit of your morning doing some work, it'll mean that if you set off today, it will only take you. You'll be arriving in the evening instead of midday at Kasmir, because it's slightly less than 5 days journey. Cool. Is there anything else we're doing, or are we heading off now then?
While we're at the university, Phoenix would have a brief look around it. doesn't interest him in too much. He's not really a big fan of kind of secured places of learning magic.
Mhm.
But he's curious enough to have a look around, see if the library's open access or...
So some part of the library is open to the public. However, the good stuff is for members of the university only.
Yeah, that figures. He'd have a brief look around. He's mostly comparing it to the kind of places of learning in Wythy.
So compared to Weether, it is slightly different. First of all, it's bigger and there's more people here. Whereas Weether, they're less about building, like this is the school. It's kind of a lot more, you'll have a master who will teach you, and you'll probably travel around a bit, because they're far less metropolitan, the elves, than compared to the humans and Cathanians. So obviously there's difference in that regard. It's probably a lot noisier from all the kind of experiments gone wrong, accidental fireballs or that kind of thing from the kind of junior section where the younger wizards are learning their craft kind of thing. So again, the kind of noise and bustle is kind of the main difference. However, in kind of terms of the upper echelon, let's say, of learning, it seems to be roughly comparable from your quick look around. Anything? All right. So, the road to Kasmir. You'll be headed. You notice as you start to make your way up north, you find yourself going up more, uphill more. So you gather you're probably higher above sea level than you were kind of the lower area of Akaran. And you also notice it definitely starts to get a bit colder and a bit rainier compared to the very far south. So the very southern tip of Akaran is not too far away from the equator, which is somewhere in the southern wastes. Whereas kind of as you, the perceived equator, so kind of the kind of equivalent in this world, as you kind of get much further north, you definitely notice to get colder. But yes, and wetter, I should mention. It also gets a decent amount wetter. But yes, so 5 days later is kind of later in the evening. You kind of have to push on a little further to make it at the end of the 5th day, based on how long you were in Sorten. You will eventually arrive at Kasmir. So compared to Sorten, this is much more hustle bustle. This is a trade city. The main reason Kasmir exists is as a joining point for trade between Cathania and Akaran. They are the two main trading powers, and Kasmir is the joining point between them. So it is quite large, and a large amount of wealth passes through here on the daily. You will see various merchants as you look around, especially towards the city centre. There's a lot of privately owned, privately built, fancy-looking houses, and some very pompous, overly gaudy merchants will be kind of walking around. Yes, for Althaea, this is all very familiar to you because this is what you know as home. So, as you ride them into the city, where are you taking them? It's about 6:30 in the evening.
Well, I don't know as to whether it would be comfortable, but I suppose I could take you all home. Could see the old boss in the morning. Probably best not to interrupt him in the evening. But I guess I could introduce you to my mother.
You're going to your mum's house, yeah?
Yeah.
Fleet fucking lights up when she hears mother.
That's something to do with family.
Family things?
My family senses are tingling. Another person to pack bond to.
Yes.
Family man does whatever a family can. Um,
A family can just be 10 dads.
It's family cat. Family cat. Family
But
cat.
but but Fleet is a
You're an elf.
drow. Yeah, except
but
they're an
also
elf.
Fleet's also a cat.
I mean, kind of.
So he's
Alright.
a cow.
So Althaea will guide you towards a house that is it is decidedly modest for how close to the center it is. However, it's not too out of place. It looks kind of part home, part shop. There's a decent amount of the buildings in the kind of area of the city that she lives is. Kind of on the outside of the house, you will notice a variety of pottery of various designs have been made. Most of it looks like fairly generic, just bowls, cups, plates, that kind of thing. So just kind of stuff you'd use every day. However, there are a couple of examples of kind of higher quality work that kind of have painting on them and stuff. And there are lists of prices and stuff. It seems that Althea's family are potters by trade. Yes, so Althea, you have a key, so you will kind of open the door and go in. The shop's been closed for the evening, so you'll kind of guide them through. And again, kind of as you look around the kind of main workspace, so they've kind of got the actual potting wheel, the oven and stuff in the same building as the kind of actual shop area. So you see various works in various stages of the kind of firing, glazing, final finish them off kind of process. And then there are a couple of walls dedicated to completed pieces. Again, it mostly seems to be fairly stock and standard kind of stuff. However, there are a few examples of nicer pieces.
Just have to imagine how fucking weird this looks. Just like an Aasimar walks to a pottery shop, unlocks the door, and then just a ragtag group of fucking people, yes, just start piling in after her. That's gotta look weird.
Yeah. So you kind of walk into the shop area. You obviously know your mother's finished the day. So you kind of take your family friends upstairs.
Now we're her family now.
Yeah. So kind of on the upper floor, you will find your mother in the kitchen. She seems to be cooking for herself at the moment, at the very least. Yes, this woman, you can definitely see reflections in Althea due to kind of height, build, facial structure. However, the most obvious distance where Althea's hair is glorious gold. Her mother's is a very deep black, and she looks kind of middle-aged, 40s-ish. But the kind of the sunny optimism that you see from Althea, you will kind of see reflected in this lady's face. She'll kind of turn around, it will light up as she sees her daughter. Althea, and she'll kind of run and take you up in her arms.
Oh yeah,
give you
like
a
big
old
family hug time.
Yeah.
Just like, mother, hello. We may need to cook for some more. She'll just sort of like beckon back to the others.
Yeah, you kind of finish walking up the stairs, you're kind of, oh, hello, as this kind of motley gang appears in her dwelling. It's not really big enough for this many of you, but she seems to do her best to kind of make accommodations. She'll kind of set aside what she wasn't making, she to have another day, and she will start again. She's making a big old stew.
Do you need an extra hand with that, or you got it? I know there's quite a few of us.
Right. You just sit there. Out there. Would you like to offer our guests some drinks?
I assume everything will be where we left it, and she'll just sort of disappear and start like putting, offering drinks around. I think perhaps if she can grab a moment, she'll change into much more casual clothes, like
Yeah.
just like proper like hernic, like just fabrics held together by like
Yeah.
pins.
Sure. So, it's lovely to see you. Titus says you meant to arrive home about a week ago. What on earth kept you?
Well, and again, she just sort of turns to the others and say, you know how, well, the whole blessed one thing, turns out that's a bit more important. We're involved in some things, and she'll sort of like take her mother aside, almost like hand over shoulder, and like turn her to the side and be like, I met him. And be like, I've got a job. I've got to go find a unicorn.
Everyone but Althaea, roll me insight, please.
I should say, from the moment we entered, Yareth would have taken his hat off and just would have been fidgeting with it slightly and just sort of been very quiet.
Yeah.
Important question. What does the top of Yareth's head look like?
You've seen it before. He has hair. It is brown, very well kept hair.
You saying that he's not balding?
Cut. He's not balding. He just likes his hat. He wasn't wearing the hat when we went into the sewers, guys.
The hair is illusion magic.
Sure.
It's minor illusion. He's minor illusioned his hair.
Yeah. So, most of you, they kind of don't really get much of a read out of the ordinary beyond the kind of smile that's on her face from seeing her child again. Fleet, however, you notice as Althaea says the phrase "blessed one," you notice a small twitch in her hand. It's very subtle. It looks almost as if it was about to go into a fist. However, it is quickly stopped. It's kind of impulsive movement that you assume that Teresa, her name, and she will introduce herself as, probably didn't intend. You probably get from this motion that while having a small child is typically a blessing, perhaps it may not be viewed as such by this particular individual. But yes. Oh, you did. Oh my god, that's... I shouldn't say oh my god. Oh my gosh, that's... Wow. Did he say to you?
He gave me a gift. She'll like think her head. He told me that me and my friends here, even including him, he's a bit grumpy about it. We're very important, and that we have to protect the hope for future days to come, and all that.
Oh, I see. That's certainly something. She'll kind of move Rose back to the circle. Let me look at it. And she'll kind of take it off your head and she'll kind of admire it. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And she's kind of looking at the diamonds, like, oh my god, they're real diamonds kind of thing. And yeah, she will kind of seemingly gloss over the kind of whole we're important thing, and she'll kind of focus on talking about how lovely the circuit is, and then she'll kind of move the conversation on, probably back to food. Yes. About half an hour later, you will be presented with a modest but lovely kind of stew. It seems just made up of various vegetables that she scrounged up. You probably all have a different selection. You imagine this is probably a week's worth of vegetables for her that she's had to combine together to feed all of you. Yes, it's rustic. Let's put it that way.
It's a home-cooked meal. Fleet fucking loves this shit.
Yeah, and she'll kind of have... There will definitely be some improvised chairs. One of you might have to sit on like an upturned bucket kind of thing. And you're all kind of crammed round. No elbow room at all. Her little table is probably made for 3, maybe 4. definitely not 6. But yes, it is an overall pleasant experience. You'll kind of have a nice chat over food. Is there any topic anyone's going to especially bring up?
Fleet, having noticed people's reactions from last time, is not talking about family unless someone else brings it up.
Okay.
Yareth would just be very complimentary. Not going over the top. Like, he's not saying, "Oh, this is the most marvelous house I've ever been in," because it's clearly not, and he's not going to lie. But it's a lovely soup. You have a lovely daughter. I'm sure you're lovely as well. I'd love to get to know you more. That sort of thing.
Are you telling
Generally
me?
charming Yareth.
Are you telling me that Yareth isn't hitting on Althea's mom? I'm kind of disappointed.
Yareth is definitely not hitting on Althea's mum.
Because I'm in love with Althea's mom.
She does got it going on.
I mean, does she though?
That's DM to decide.
I don't know what you're into. Like, as I say, she's like early 40s. But you could definitely tell she used to be, decidedly on the attractive side. So, like, this is something I probably don't want to get into too much. But
Yeah, I was fine with it not being. I was fine with it just being a joke.
Yeah.
Flustered Riley's just come out there, guys. Well,
So what was it like growing? What was it like raising an ASMR child?
Fleet, you'll notice kind of she's holding a spoon, but at the moment you notice a slight fluxation. What's the word I'm looking for? Contraction of the muscles in her hand again. Well, it certainly had its ups and downs. She was unexpected, put it that way. I mean, there's all sorts of people are very interested. I had visits from lots of interesting people all around just because they wanted to see her. I even got a couple of nice gifts out of it. So there are a few perks, but there's there's definitely the difficulties, especially when they decide to make everything glow all at once just because they can. Yeah.
DM,
hmm
looking around.
Looking around.
Head out there, Riley. Have we lost Riley?
Seem to-
Looking around, I see nothing.
I've dropped into an empty void. I have disappeared.
Looking around.
I go to the corner, I kind of clip into it, and I go out of bounds, and then just fall for eternity.
That's how Yareth's patron works. Just to visit their patron, they have to clip out.
Well,
Oh,
back with my family, we had our fair share of unexpected gifts, although there were about 20 of us to help take care of them. Can't imagine it must have been easy doing it alone.
well, I had some support from a family friend.
Oh, that's good.
Have you been to see Titus yet, or?
No, not yet.
Oh, right. Okay.
He gets cranky in the evenings, as you know.
Well, yes, I suppose. It's probably not best to visit him when you're a week late. In the evenings, definitely. So you say you have a family of 20. Where are you from then?
Oh, I'm from out in the Badlands. Yeah, I should probably explain. I grew up around Tabaxi. Obviously, I'm not one. But
Quite.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I got there, but it's just sort of how I grew up, and we were just a big family unit. There was about 50 of us total. Depending on who came in and who left.
That is a large amount.
Yeah, so everybody's family to me.
Can't say I've ever met a drow before, but it's if they're all as lovely as you, how about you? You've been quite quiet. She turns to Urashi.
The giant half-orc
Yes.
hanging out.
Just vibing. Loom,
Don't tell me you've lost a Lumie as well.
are you muted, Lumie?
Yeah, I'm muted.
At least we didn't lose you.
Goodness, what on earth would you do without me? Don't answer that question. Ash is just like, she doesn't really know how to answer that question. Well, I'm from all over, really. I come from a large tribe, an orc tribe of mostly half orcs, some orcs, obviously a couple of humans. We do need them. We're hunters,
She looked
hunter-gatherers.
concerned at the implications of her last remark.
If you're from a family full of half orcs, it makes sense. There are going to be some humans there.
I think it was the we need them,
Yeah.
like for meat.
She will not clarify that sentence in any way. Yeah. I bumped into these guys a way back. They're all right. Stuck with them.
Oh wow. So it's nice that my little Althaea met such diverse friends.
That's
I
one
must-
way to describe us, I suppose.
I must admit, it is a little hard because people tend to judge her, but it's nice that she's found you all.
She's been real helpful at making sure we don't die.
Yes.
I meant to say, you know how I used to be, able to like patch up little nicks and scrapes.
Yes.
I can do like so much more now. I can fix
Really?
so
Gosh.
yeah. It's I can.
Titus is right. Going out on your own has clearly done you the world of good.
She'll sort of like beckon over to Ash and be like, I even managed to get this one off the floor at one point.
Ash just nods.
Oh, I see. Wow, that's wonderful. You back, Riley.
Hello, yes. Internet died right as I was
Around the
asking a
room
question.
Yeah. So ask it again then.
So yeah, basically, Yareth would have a look after what she was saying about unexpected. Yareth would have a brief look around and just see if there's any pictures like of a man or father potentially around the room, or like any items that might belong to a father type figure.
Right.
Wouldn't ask either Althaea or her mother.
Yeah.
Would just have a look.
Okay. Perception.
Yareth's best still.
Oh, look at him go.
You don't see anything, but this is the kitchen, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Alright. So, as the kind of you all finish up your meal, as she'll kind of collect all your bowls and she'll go off to start washing them. Is there anything else
Ash will offer to go and help with the washing up.
Sure. And
She'll
she'll
probably
accept.
smash the plates, but she's doing her best.
When she leaves the room, Fleet is just gonna elbow Althea and whisper, does your mom have a problem with Esme?
I don't think I was fully planned for.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't talk about it much, to be honest.
Yeah, when you mentioned it before, she kind of tensed up a bit. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you, I just try to be the best me I can be every day.
Yeah, and you're really
Oh,
good
yeah.
at being you.
Can I ask Althaea?
Yes.
I don't mean any offense. Dad, father, not about.
He
Never.
like visibly sort of drops for a moment.
Sorry, sorry, chap.
Well, this is oh wait, like sort of realizing she's not in her road gear, sort of skip back to her room almost, and reappear with a rapier in its sheath, in its scabbard, and sort of go, this is what I have of him.
Sword?
I see.
Yeah. Carry it with me whenever I'm out and about. I even tried to be like him for a while, but I wasn't very good at it.
Well, obviously you're not going to be very good at being him. You're good at being you.
Well, yes. Took me a while to learn that one, though.
Sorry,
yeah.
shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry.
No. These questions need to be asked. Hey, do you want to try some pottery? I can teach you.
I've never tried it before. I'd be curious.
I'd be willing. Yareth will sort of roll his sleeves up.
We've got
Take off the
aprons,
jacket.
don't worry. And Althaea will just like sort of spend the evening probably just messing up a lot of clay with Fleet and
I mean,
Yareth.
it can be reused, so.
Yeah.
Anyone joining, make me a sleight of hand. Althaea can have advantage because you're used to this.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got proficiency in Potter's tools.
Oh, you can have proficiency as well then. Wow.
It'll be actually, yeah.
So is that a 24 or 22?
That would be 20. It would be 23 because I don't actually have proficiency in sleight of hand, but I do have Jack of all trades,
Right,
so it's
okay.
just an extra one.
23. Okay. Fleet, you make like, when kids, make like a cup. It's kind of
Yeah.
wonky. Handle doesn't connect on properly, but it could theoretically hold water and you could drink out of it. It's not bad.
Fleet is very proud.
Riley, yours is somewhat symmetrical. The handle still isn't quite right. It doesn't connect properly onto the bottom, and it's got a bit of a wobbly shape because it's kind of finicky bit to do. But it looks decent, and you hold the handle. So when you're holding the handle, it looks great. Whereas Althea's looks like she bashes it out in probably like a quarter of the time it takes the other one of you, pair of you, and yeah, it looks pretty good. It's just a basic cup, but it looks like decent. It looks reasonably on par with the rest of it you see standing around.
She's sort of got the actual like shape of the cup done. I want her to. I say I want her. She'll start etching the shape of a flame into the side.
Yeah, more than possible.
Phoenix will just take the opportunity to have a bit of explore of the house.
Snoop, you mean?
No, just have a wander around, look at the just where Althaea grew up.
Okay, so are you kind of literally just going in, glancing, or are you kind of taking time to look at things bit by bit?
I mean, if they're going to spend an entire evening doing pottery, it's going to take a bit of time.
All right, investigation then. I mean, it's a house. So in the upstairs, so downstairs you got the actual workplace / shop, and upstairs you got the kitchen / dining room, and then there are two rooms, two bedrooms, Althea's room, and then Teresa's room, and a bathroom. That's it. It's not particularly big, I'd say. It's quite a modest house for this part of the city. All right. Anybody else have anything else?
Just sort of setting up beds
don't
for
think so.
people, I imagine.
Yeah, right. So, night will kind of pass. You have a good old time with Teresa. And Althea can set up beds. A lot of you will probably be sleeping on the floor. You might have blankets and stuff, but you've probably all got bedrolls, I think. So, it's not too uncomfortable. And it's free, more importantly. Yes, the night will pass, and eventually, and the morning will dawn. Teresa will whip you up a nicest breakfast. You grab a sheep rose before lights to go out, and she's brought back bacon, eggs, that kind of thing for a bit of a fry up. Yeah, the day is ahead of you.
Right.
Yareth will say, "You didn't have to do this, chap. This is lovely, but
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. All for my little Althea," and she'll kind of give her a head pat.
She leans into it.
Yeah.
She'll sort of say to us, "Well, it's the difficult bit today, going to see Titus.
Well, good luck. Send him my greetings.
Oh, I meant to give this to you. I've been saving up where I can on the road. And Althea will hand Teresa 25 gold pieces.
Oh my goodness! No, I can't accept this. She will just shove it back at the table. Just, your mother. She is not taking this.
Oh, I'm gonna hide it in the house somewhere.
Hey.
It's gonna be like a thing of like who can hide it the best first, so that it ends up on the other.
Hey. You roll me a sleight of hand to hide, and I'll roll investigation for your mother to see if she finds it.
Can I help?
Who?
I would like to help Althea hide it. I don't think she needs the help, but I can try.
Problem child!
Yareth was thinking very much similar thing in that while she is potentially distracted finding the money that Althea is hiding somewhere, Yareth will also hide 15 gold.
You're just hiding gold in this woman's house.
Somewhere that Yareth thinks not going to look while we're here, but probably will find at some point in the day.
Right.
Like
I mean,
in
you
the
can make
kettle or
sleight of
something.
hand if you like. Cool. Good to know.
Why does my tea taste so metallic?
Oh dear.
She'll ask sort of her mother to fire and get the cups if she can, and then
It'll probably
I guess
take days. I'm not an expert at pottery.
no, that's fine, and then I guess off to Titus.
Alright.
We will need to take the horses. They were his.
Yeah, and they cut.
Yes.
3.5
Yeah,
weeks
no
to go
problem.
from a lump of clay to a finished pot, apparently, according to Google. Google never lies, so
There's lots of firing.
that's how long it takes. Alright. Hey.
You need to get air dry clay and like right now. Could we just put one on Phoenix's head for a bit?
I was going to say, he's got produce flame. He could probably fire those for you himself.
It's got to be in a special oven, though, doesn't it? Because the heat distributes in a specific way. I don't think it would work just over an open flame. I don't think that's how pottery works.
It's a specific
Yeah,
kiln.
I'm a wizard. I can control my flame.
I think it could. It wouldn't produce a even clay. Like some might be slightly bubbled, but like clay producing things out of clay has been around since before the oven.
Well,
So it's possible. It would.
Firing, is that 3 to 8 hours?
I don't know. You can look that up
Yeah.
while
I'm
we
going
carry
to
on.
go
going
learn
on.
about pottery.
Okay. Anyway, by
D&D,
next week,
everybody.
by next week, you need to actually make these cups.
Oh no! Oh no! I want to go out and buy some clay.
And you know he's going to do it.
All right.
No, Nat, that's bad. We're in lockdown. No frivolous purchases.
This is
Doesn't
not
mean you
frivolous.
can't
This is
order some online.
I may actually have some air dry clay somewhere.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, Ferret. Sorry.
What are we doing? Oh, you're going to merchant.
No,
Goes
you're the
by
DM.
this-
Oh, so, Althaea will guide you a bit closer in towards the centre. Based on the district, most you can guess is a merchant who is moderately prosperous. However, they are not one of like the merchant lords by any means, but are definitely not struggling. It's kind of a medium-large house. So this guy definitely is in a comfortable situation, but he's by no means overly loaded. There'll even be like a handful of servants. There's a doorman that Althaea will introduce you to, and say why you're here. And there'll be a couple of people who come take the carts, carts of wool, and then escort them off to where they're meant to be, along with all of the horses. Yes. So you'll be guided through this house to a study, and inside it kind of reflects very much what you've gathered from the outside. This is someone who is moderately prosperous, but kind of based on the kind of decor and the quality of it, you probably most of you get a vibe that, yeah, this is nice, but it's definitely not as high key as you would get in other places. Yes, as you kind of enter the study, you'll be faced with a human. He looks to be in his early 60s. He's got kind of a close-cropped beard, completely grey. He's slightly on the portly side. However, you gather from kind of his framing that he probably wasn't always portly. It's probably just a side effect of his older age, in that he's put on this weight. He's got tan skin of someone who's spent the majority of their life traveling under the sun, and he's got these little spectacles. He definitely looks to be on the shrewd side of things. Yes, you're all welcomed in. He will kind of, give you all a pleasant greeting. Althaea, lovely to see you again. What on earth happened? I was expecting you back about a week or so ago. Trust you didn't come into any major problems on your journey.
Well, first things first. My most sincere apologies for my lateness. As you can see, I have come back with slightly more than I left with.
Yes, these are not the workers I sent you with. Where are they? They already gone off about their business? Gone to see their families, I expect.
There was an incident.
Oh?
We're the replacements.
What on earth happened out there?
It was
What
back
on
in
earth?
Alta
What on
Farm.
Gaecia?
What on Gaecia?
Gaecia happened?
There was an incident back in Alta Farm. We were attacked, some bandits, and I was lucky enough to make it out myself. But the rest of them, they didn't make it. I saw to it that they were properly looked to, returned to the earth. But yes, I had to bring on some, friends now, to aid me. And I've sort of ended up involved in something even bigger. But I do have your gold, and she will take out a pouch containing 100 gold, pass it to him, and then place down an extra 15 gold pieces and be like, "That's for being late."
You'll kind of look at the money you've placed on the table. You'll kind of stand up, kind of cross around this kind of large desk, and he will hug you. You kind of wraps his arms around you in a slightly unfamiliar gesture, at least in recent years. He hugged you quite a bit when you were a little girl. That sounds weird. Oh my god.
Yeah, it does.
When you were no, I'm just going to move on.
We know what you mean. Let's just.
Yeah, let's not look
wholesome
too deep
moment.
into that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
dear.
become less frequent as you grew up. I'm dreadfully sorry. This, I suppose, there's no helping it, but can't help but feel at least a little responsible.
You shouldn't. I can assure you they are circumstances that were entirely outside of anyone's control.
This is Phoenix. And she'll sort of like lean in and say quite quietly, "Sometimes he's obnoxiously smart."
I thought you were just going to say sometimes he's obnoxious.
No.
He will kind of give Phoenix a nod. Pleasure to meet you, and kind of hold out his hand. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm terribly sorry. I'm Titus Sura. I'm a moderately successful merchant. I mostly send caravans such as Gaecia. I would go with them in my youth, but I'm a bit old to spend all day in the saddle nowadays. It's much more comfortable down here. Kind of genially pat his larger stomach.
Phoenix will accept the hand, shake it, and say, "Phoenix White, traveler, before Althaea managed to rope me into honest work."
Well. If there's more of it, I'm sure we can come to that later. We'll kind of go around and introduce himself to the rest of you. I assume you all introduce yourselves back, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No reason to hide my name.
Yeah, Sebastian Lieb von Stamp at your service.
Hello today.
Yeah, so he'll kind of, politely greet you all, and then he'll kind of move back round and, probably quite happily sink back into his comfortable-looking chair. Well, in terms of what's happened, how much has Althaea told you about what she was doing?
Didn't seem like there was much to explain. Just delivering goods.
This was her first solo mission. She would always go with someone more experienced. This is the first time she was leading a caravan. So I was a small one down to the safe part of the country, presumably. Or clearly not, I guess. She has been working with me for a number of years now. Yes, my apprentice almost, I guess, is the best way of putting it. You'll kind of sigh and look at Althaea again.
She's looking like proudly at him. I think there's a measure of sorrow for the failed mission, as it were, like the men that have died. But there's pride in how he's talking about her, and she's his apprentice. She knows to sort of hold herself up when she's in a meeting with a business, with a client, essentially.
Well, so if you're all here, I assume you're after some sort of compensation for your services.
I don't particularly need anything. I mean, Althaea has saved my life enough times to call it even at the very least.
This was more than...
Titus, I got better at healing as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Well done. I know you've been working on that for quite a while. He'll kind of give you a wink.
This really was more of a favor than anything. Not really looking for steady work in the mercantile game.
Yes, while compensation would be lovely if you're willing, I will not insist on it at all.
All right. What favor would you be after?
Well, if we're talking favors, you live pretty close to the Faltorn Woods. Don't suppose you've heard any credible rumors of unicorns?
He'll kind of give you a look for a moment, like, "Was this guy serious?" And kind
He
of as you
looks deadly serious.
you go, let me see. There's always stories of unicorns, tales, from centuries past. If you're looking for a modern unicorn, I'm afraid I'm not much help. Better off asking someone who lives a bit right next to the edge of the forest, a village, or maybe even a stray furball if you can manage it. They're probably more likely to be informed in that matter. I generally don't spend much time in towns listening to stories anymore. I generally find myself far too busy for that kind of matter. Sorry.
No, that's fair. You ask a incredible question, you rarely get an incredible answer.
Quite.
I suppose the big favour, chap, would be if we may steal Althaea. To put it bluntly.
Borrow might be the more operable.
Well, yes. We've been tasked certain jobs and from the church, and Althea's needed in them, unfortunately.
I see. Well, I suppose it wasn't going to be too long before the church decided to throw its weight around regarding you. I've been fending them off for quite some while, to put it one way.
Yeah, well, it's enough to say they sent their big guns this time.
I see. Well, as far as releasing Althaea, as far as I'm concerned, my debt to her and her family was paid the day she turned 18. Keeping her on because she has potential, but it's her life, I guess. What you do with it is up to you.
Then, as perhaps, yes, my time working with you has been excellent, but I think it is time I move on. However, that does not mean my business with you has ended. I would like to purchase Kyriakos from you.
I see.
He's served me well.
All right. You see him sitting up in his chair, and you probably get a glimmer in his eyes. Althaea, you definitely recognize. He's in business mode now. He's probably going to enjoy the next several minutes. The pair of you will launch into a series of negotiations. I am going to ask you to roll persuasion, Althaea, and he will roll persuasion as well.
I'm going to use one of my inspirations on that.
Sure.
Come on, Althaea. Get that horse.
Oof. Okay.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
So it's early in the morning, and you gather he's probably a bit, off his game at the moment, probably possibly due to the fact that he's bargaining with you and you're leaving. That might be getting a bit emotional. So he doesn't seem to play as hard as he usually would with a natural 4. Distance between them is. Okay, so you eventually negotiate that you will pay 15 gold and the horse will be yours.
I shall do that.
Go.
But a horse.
You all note that since none of you asked to be paid, he will not pay any of you. He is a
Ash was
businessman.
Ash wants to be paid.
Oh, right. Okay.
And everyone was like, "Oh, when
Gareth would be fine with being paid. He's just not going to insist on it.
But
Ash is
that's
like,
not how it works.
Excuse me."
None of you expressed like an insistence
Yes.
on being paid. There are two. Oh,
In
you don't
fairness,
have
that's because
to.
I was
And then
muted.
Urashi didn't speak up. Would Urashi have spoken up?
I was muted. Yes, I would have.
Okay, if he would have spoken up, he would have given you 15 gold for helping Althaea out.
Oh, lovely. Thanks.
It'll come from the profit that she gave him.
Would it be at all possible to purchase the other horses as well?
Well, that's a different matter entirely. Any horses in particular, or are you just after young, fit ones?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't gained some sort of connection with Greydard. Don't know about the others, but I think we'd appreciate the purchase of a few horses.
All right. So if you're trying to buy horses off of him, let's say it will average out, and he will charge you 25 for horse for the other horses. So you buying the other 3? Yes.
I'll buy my horse.
Yeah.
I'll say Yareth will buy Greydard.
Ash
Phoenix-
doesn't have a horse. You guys killed it.
Wait, yeah, hang on a second. My horse died. I already paid for this horse. I don't have to pay him shit.
All right. Fair enough.
You can buy Phoenix's horse, Ash.
Oh, I'll buy Phoenix's horse.
You are the proud owner of horse 3.
Yeah, just like I was the proud owner of horse 2.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right. So, any other business?
No, I think that's everything.
Well, very
well-
well. Yeah. If you're ever traveling up into Catania and you want cargo to take along, you can always find me. I will always offer you a fair price. And he'll wink again out there.
Has he actually offered us a fair price?
If I pry it out of you,
Well, you are not my employee anymore. Business is business at the end of the day.
wouldn't have it any other way, Titus. And she'll
Exactly.
extend her hand out for a handshake.
Yeah, he'll shake your hand.
Right then. She'll sort of turn to her friends. Where to next? I think Phoenix made the map, right?
I think the
Well,
plan
shame to wait.
was Faltorn Woods.
Be a shame to waste the opportunity to see your hometown. Might even be able to find a job that takes us out into Faltorn. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Not this
And
again.
he will purposefully look at Urashi as he says that.
Not again.
Ash is so confused. She's so confused.
That one, chap, means not wasting your resources.
So, as you leave Titus's home, and start playing what you want to do next, I think we will take a quick break. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so. Just getting a glass of water and stuff. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Sure, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gaecia. So our party have just been to see Althea's boss, or ex-boss now, and they are ready to set off on their journey. Okay. Unfortunately, Lumie's had to go because she has a job or something.
Imagine having a job, Lamau.
Women, am I right? Working.
No! No!
No.
I'm not going there!
Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
What was it saying? Oh yeah. Yeah. So you've just exited Titus's house. What do?
Well, we either wanted to look for a job that would take us into the Feltorn Woods, or just go to the Feltorn Woods.
Can I just check as well? Who's got a horse now?
I think we all do?
Everyone but Phoenix.
Cool. We don't have any carts. Phoenix, are you going to be all right, like, sharing my horse? Or are we going to want a cart?
You'd probably also know a horse in the Feltorn Woods probably not a good idea. There's
No, I'm talking long term, not
Yeah.
like the woods.
We'll figure that out as we go.
Okay, sounds good.
I would also like to make a point about navigation, or traveling the world map. So, walking in carts is 3 hexes a day. However, if you're all mounted, you can choose to go at a fast pace, which will be 4 hexes a day. However, it risks exhaustion for both you and your horse each day you move at this fast pace. I'm just saying that now because
Cool.
obviously you now know about it. So the first day is fine at fast pace, and then it's DC 10, and then the DC increases by 2 for each day additionally. The con save against exhaustion. So you can keep going for a while, and then if you have a couple of long rests, you'll be fine. It's just you can't constantly push at a fast pace, along with the traditional -5 to like perception or whatever it is in the for fast traveling in the player's handbook. That's just the way I like to do it.
Made sense.
Elemental Chaos gave me feet. I'm going to use them.
Sure, you could also use them to ride a horse, but whatever. Right, yes. So, what are we doing? What is the plan?
Althaea knows the city best.
Well, Althea does. Nat doesn't.
Where are you wanting to go?
Yeah, it depends on what you want to see. I'm sure I can take you to it, but
Well, other than the obvious landmarks, you'd show any tourist places that might be hiring people to, what's the word, range out? Or, I don't know, the Feltorn Woods has to have unique resources people would be after.
yeah, I'm sure I can. I'm sure I can guide us in the right direction.
Right, so you're doing the tour first or work first?
We'll do tour first and
Okay.
then work first.
So Kasmir is not really a tourist city. There's not a great deal in the terms of sites. It seems to be purely mercantile and like kind of trade orientated. However, Althaea will take you towards the middle, where kind of the uber famous, uber rich merchants live, and they have some pretty nice houses. They're like mansion sized, and some of them are quite interesting to look at. There's also kind of the city hall, where obviously a lot of the city runs it, and there's also a medium-sized for a city kind of temple. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's fairly big because it's a fairly big city, at least compared to like village temples and stuff. Beyond there, it's not a whole lot on the various sites. There is a big fair that takes place kind of just outside the city, where it's kind of people in carts and horses and stuff, where they kind of do their trade out there instead of actually coming into the city and paying taxes and stuff. So it's kind of a big collection of merchants doing trade and stuff out there instead of in the city. Beyond that, as I say, there's not a whole lot to see. It's not the most interesting city, unfortunately.
So is Kasmir one of those, if you have the coin, you can buy anything in Kasmir?
To an extent. There are certain things where it'd be easy to get in other places, but you probably get most things here.
I imagine this was an interesting place to grow up.
Yeah, well, for me especially, always helps when you can produce light from your hands and heal most bumps you get. Not much to do except develop sharp business acumen, I suppose. But here I am.
Here you are.
Certainly not the kind of place I expect people to grow up, but it's here.
I mean, no offense, Fleet, but I don't think your experiences are exactly standard.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The more I travel, the more I see. I am not as normal as I thought I was.
No one ever is.
Hey, so you're looking for work to take you into Falton, yeah?
Yeah, people would be looking for the acquisition of unique goods.
Sure.
Or just
So a group check, say 2 dice. Can I have an investigation, please, to try and seek out work?
I imagine that would be Phoenix and Yareth.
Smart boys, get out there. Start
Would
doing
Althaea have advantage for this being her home?
No.
She's also an idiot.
She's lowering the DC.
So are the both of us today, apparently.
You know what? I got 3 of these. I can't accrue more. I'm gonna spend an inspiration on that.
Sure.
I am not, as I only have 1.
That was worth it.
I can't see the roll. Oh, there you go. All right. So as I said, the fact that Althea was helping was lowering the DC, not less than 10.
It's going
So you kind of ask around, but you kind of most things that would be gathered from there, they seem to be set up by kind of specific companies who specialize in heading in there. You probably speak to a furbolg who specialized in gathering exotic herbs and berries and fruit and stuff from inside the woods. However, no one is specifically hiring itinerant people for a specific, more eclectic item that you can find, unfortunately.
I mean, if we're talking to a furbolg, Phoenix would take the opportunity to ask him about unicorns.
Of course. Oh, well, there are all sorts of stories about unicorns. Obviously, supposedly we're somewhat cousins, both made by Fahir. If you're actually looking to find one, generally it's a bit difficult. Normally the unicorn finds you. However, to maximize your odds, I suppose you could go to a specific sacred grove or whatever where you know there to be unicorns, and if you show you're respectful, maybe help out, tend the area a little bit. They might show themselves. It's not the kind of thing you can generally plan, though. They're known to be rare for a reason. They generally keep themselves to themselves. There's not a great many of them.
Well, thanks for the information. I'm sure it'll come in very handy.
You kind of think for a moment. You say you're dead set on finding one, yeah?
You could say it's very important to us.
It seems to eye you up and down, kind of taking the measure of you. Well, you seem like an honest enough chap. Oh my god, I said chap again.
Everybody's a chap.
Yes,
Seem like
more
a
chap.
You seem like an honest enough fellow. Yeah. I've heard a few rumours about places in the nearby bit of the Falthorn. If you're interested, I could possibly get a couple of locations that might be of use.
That would be very helpful.
All right. How much is information worth to you?
What kind of things of value are you looking for?
Well, I sell stuff, so I'm interested in money. If you've got stuff other than that to potentially trade with, I might be open.
We're an eclectic group. We can offer quite an array of services.
Not much for services.
We'd be happy to pay you if you have good information.
What's your trade?
Oh, I have a family of mine. We grow we don't grow them. They grow wildly. We collect various flowers, herbs, stuff like that. Occasional berry. They wander around the kind of northern section of Falthorn. And then we collect them, turn them into an array of medicines, powders, stuff like that. Sell them on. Not sure all of them are effective, but a lot of them definitely are.
Any of those particularly difficult to come by that you could find in the Falthorn?
Nothing that my family, hasn't already got a handle on.
Phoenix would look to the others, see if they've got any ideas.
Again, we'd be happy to pay you for information on these unicorns if you have some.
Sure. He'll kind of bring up a map. Yeah. So a couple places I might look if I was dead set on finding unicorn. There's a valley roughly in this area. Hang on. Let me make the thing a bit smaller. It's not very precise.
I've got the route written down. So.
Then. Oh. Oops. I sent a little thing. It's not coming back.
Oh no, it's fine. I deleted the route. I've got it written down.
Oh, I thought I deleted it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's a valley just about here. It said that there's a spring, starts at the kind of elevated part, and it kind of runs down, and it runs over these white rocks, and supposedly the water there, if you bathe your hands in it, you immune to certain diseases, common diseases for a shorter time. It said that valley's guarded by a unicorn. I've not seen it. I've not heard of someone I've not met someone who's seen it. So it's third hand that unicorn lives there. Approximately here is supposed to be this large tree. It kind of originally the land in a few miles of it was all rocky and barren. It wasn't good for growing stuff in. However, this Furbolg druid, I forget his name, he planted this tree, and then he kind of suffused it with magic so that it was able to grow in this not particularly good land for growing stuff in. Nutrient poor, I guess is the term. And then as this tree grew, its magic kind of spread, and eventually the woods kind of grew up around this tree, and there'd be this couple mile wide section of the woods that wouldn't be there if this tree were to ever be killed. I've been there. I've seen the tree. It's definitely magical. So while I've not seen a unicorn there, I've met a couple of friends who said they caught a glimpse of it. But say that's possibly a better bet, but I don't know for sure. And then probably the most tangible, sorry, what's the word? The least likely, I guess, would be this one, which is nearest, unfortunately. This is meant to be a what's it called? Ravine, and there's kind of this. There's this hot air that kind of comes out of it. Supposedly, that air is, it kind of increases the plant life in the area. Some people say it's magical. Some people say it's just science, geology. I think they said it was, and that this hot air carries stuff up from beneath the earth, and increases life in the area. There's definitely an increase of life around this ravine. As I say, people say it's magical. People say it's not. It's the most tenuous as to whether there's a unicorn there. But here's the closest, so you might as well check it out on your way. Yeah, those be my first bets as to where to look.
I imagine this will save us quite a bit of time.
Let's say 10 gold. If you find the unicorn, and you can tell me a good story about it, I'll give you a discount next time I see you.
That's,
Very reasonable.
Sounds fine to me. Fleet will just hand over a small pouch of 10 gold.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully this information isn't troll. Hopefully he's not just sending us on a wild goose chase.
I mean, this guy's definitely he has an establishment in Kasmir, right?
Yeah. It's a small little apothecary.
It's like we've just been dabbed by a pet that is going to.
I mean, are you wanting to vibe check him, see if he's pulling your leg?
I think the fact he's working out of an established shop is enough for Phoenix. Like he's not going anywhere. If he's lying, we can come back.
Ruin his reputation. Call him out in front of the entire city.
Get our gold back at nothing else.
All right. Anything else anyone wants to do?
Since Fleet paid for it all, Yareth will just attempt to slip 2 gold back into her pocket.
Sleight of hand and perception from you see Yareth kind of surreptitiously, like he kind of does like a almost sideways Michael Jackson. He kind of leans towards you about stepping close, and you feel clink clink in your pocket. Fleet.
Yeah, can I see your hat for a second? There's something in it I'm just curious about.
Yareth will, knowing he's busted, sort of roll his eyes and pass the hat over.
While I am investigating the hat, I am just going to drop the 2 gold back into the hat and stick it on his head.
I mean, you feel the 2 gold. It's
yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Yareth will just reply, "Cool, I'm buying you your next drink."
Absolutely not.
We're family. You've got to let me buy you a drink every now and again. He'll just say with the biggest grin on his face.
I still think the biggest grin that Yareth's going to achieve is still like paling in comparison
Oh,
to
yeah.
Fleet's,
For
I
the-
imagine.
for the record,
Yeah.
it's like a grin, but it's like the sort of wry, just one side of the mouth grin, eyebrow raised, but still a grin.
You really think I'm his family?
Some sort of family. We're all some sort of family, right?
You understand. You understand. Thank you.
Still doing this for the child, after all.
Or hope. Yeah.
Div's the same smile.
That's just out here shit posting.
Nope.
Yareth is a living shitpost.
Yareth has a very particular reason behind the words.
Right. Anybody else doing anything else?
I don't think so.
No, I guess we're heading
Not
to find
much.
the nearest river crossing.
Yeah,
Sure.
because we're not really much for trading. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
you kind of need capital for that.
Okay, so it'll be Monday. So in kind of 6 days' time, you would have made your way to Falthorn Woods.
Oh, yeah, we would have picked up rations before heading off. I
Yeah,
imagine.
I was
Now that
gonna
we're off the beaten track.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you'll need rations for at least a couple of weeks.
How much are rations again? Or we're bulk buying them?
I can't remember. And equipment.
Well, how much are rations here?
they're
If
like
you can't
half a
remember.
gold each in most places, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's 5 silver for 1 day, or at the Maryford Association, you can get 10 days for 45. So you get 1 day. Buy 9, you get 1 free essentially. At Maryford.
Yeah, Phoenix will pick up 20 days worth. So that's what, 90 silver, so 9 gold.
Yep.
That's good.
I'll do the same, because that makes it easy.
Likewise.
Sure.
And how many days was it? 6 days on the road.
So you've spent 2 days traveling from Kasmir to the edge of the fountain.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Cool. 2 lots of rations.
Yeah. So, as
Did we leave the horses in the city, or?
Well, that's up to you.
Yeah, Mum knows how to look after them.
Sure. Okay. So, let me change the music. What's the one I had? This one?
This is where it's not a unicorn glade. It's like a manticore glade.
We are heading to the Western Ravine first.
Okay, yeah. So, as you kind of approach the Falthorn Woods, it's kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and you see the ocean for the first time and you're like, oh my god, it's so big, it just goes on forever. It's very much like that. So instead of water, it's just a never-ending forest. That as you kind of crest the hill, kind of looking down on it, it's just a sea of green. You see the canopy of the tree tops kind of spreading on for miles and miles and miles and miles. And
How does it compare to Witha?
compared to Witha, so in terms of like, so Witha is wooded as well. However, it was generally smaller trees, and they were a lot more delicate. And there wasn't as much in kind of overgrowth and shrubbery. However, as you get closer, you can see here that there's beneath the canopy there are, you know, bushes and vines and ferns, and it is a lot more dense. You gather this is probably going to be a lot more difficult to traverse. To kind of, you know, just walk around in. There are a handful of, you know, like game paths or, you know, woodsman's, you know, tracks and stuff that you can follow. However, this will be much slower than just walking on a road, as you can imagine. Yeah, so compared with this is kind of an intimidating forest, whereas that was a lot more tame, I guess, because it's kind of you would know it's kind of deliberately grown there by the elves. This is pure wilderness, essentially. This is the wilds.
Well, I'm glad we chose to tackle this one first instead of last.
Yeah. So you
That
headed to the
was out loud.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, chaps? So, once we encounter this unicorn, how are we meant to go about asking for its tears or making it cry?
You know, that's a good question.
I'm sure if we ask it. Well, I mean, they're children of the gods too. I'm sure if we explain this is a task given to us by the divine, then they should see reason.
The stories paint them as intelligent creatures. So,
And I
sure, a
suppose,
deal can be worked out.
in a weird way, we're sort of cousins.
Maybe not something worth admitting that you're cousins with a horse.
They're not horses. They've got horns and they can do magic and they're special.
Althaea looks over and she can very clearly see that Phoenix is messing with her. There is a slight smile on his face.
She inhales, almost like puffing up a bit. Fine, if we find one, you don't get to pet it.
I'm on fire. That's true for most horses.
I think that's up to the unicorn whether or not they don't pet if they're as sentient as you make out.
I think we're preambulating a bit too much, so no time like the present.
Sure. Who is trying to lead the party through this dense wood?
If only we had.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ash probably has the most experience with tracking.
I mean, Ash would be leading us through the woods. So.
Yeah. So if that's your decision, I'll roll a survival for Ash. Cool. Is anybody else doing anything else as they travel?
Let's see. Can I make this easier?
Is looking at pretty flowers an option?
I mean, if you're trying to take in the nature around you, sure.
Hell yeah.
Roll me nature.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
I suppose in the bluntest way, keeping an eye out for unicorns.
All right, yeah. All right, perception.
I will also keep an eye out for unicorns. I want to see one.
Okay.
I might try something.
Or you could roll yourself. Yeah.
Mightn't you?
Yeah. Are there any small beasts around, rabbits, or critters such like that?
I mean, you'll probably have to go out your way to find one. They're not just going to, hop onto you Disney princess style.
No. Yeah, Yareth will keep an eye out for small beasts.
No,
you
yeah.
can
Start
make
singing,
your
see what happens.
choice of survival or nature with advantage because of your, I know we're going for with the whole name thing, so you can have advantage.
Yeah. I'll go for nature.
Sure. Okay. So,
hell yeah.
It is not an easy trip compared to roads at all. As I say, you're mostly making your way along kind of woodcutters' paths, game paths. It is hard going. You guess that you're making nowhere near as good time as you would on the road. Urashi seems to mostly have navigating in hand. you kind of showed her the X on the map. She kind of glanced at it once and was like, "Oh yeah, we're going this way." She seems to be have a good idea of how to know where to go, even if looking at the sun isn't always the easiest. She seems to have a certain knack for traveling these conditions. So yeah, she definitely takes you along an easier route. You notice that she'll kind of be able to guide you around a couple of hazards that you would have met along the way. One instance is this kind of steaming, bubbling kind of mud pit that would not be pleasant to fall into. Another is she kind of reaches out and she has to grab Althea's arm to stop you from accidentally walking into a kind of sudden drop that you didn't see through the thick bush that Urashi obviously did. Althea, in terms of looking for interesting wildlife or plants and stuff, you definitely see all kinds of things you never would have before. In terms of like pretty flowers specifically, there's less. That's not the kind of thing you would find. You do find things that are beautiful, but it's very much not in the traditional, oh, pretty flowers, oh, look at the pretty colors kind of sense. You kind of get a general vibe of it's more that you kind of feel the power of the woods, and you kind of get that kind of druidy, the circle of life is kind of beautiful kind of vibe, of specific. Oh, let me pluck this flower and put it in my hair kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fleet and Phoenix, keeping an eye out for unicorns. You don't see anything that you mistake for a unicorn. The closest you see would be a kind of stag, because same basic body plan, but definitely not equine in nature. Yareth, in terms of finding a small beast, you definitely can kind of probably like when you stop for have a break or whatever. You kind of separate from the party a little, and you kind of just sit unmoving, and you probably have like a small amount of trail rations in your hand, and kind of after
definitely.
a couple of minutes of this sitting stock still, a curious little rabbit will kind of hop up closer to you and will eventually start snacking out of the food in your hand.
Yareth will just go, "Oh, hey there, chap. I don't suppose you know of any unicorns in the area, do you? Big white horse with a horn. If you could point me and my friends in the direction, I'd be awful happy about it."
So I would make the point that is not a simple idea.
That's a very good point. Yareth hasn't done this in a while, and I've never done this. Unicorn in the area? Yes? No?
That will kind of look up at you. It's kind of chewing on the food as it goes. It will kind of look at you curiously, kind of cock its head. It'll kind of shake its head, like either you're not entirely sure whether it means no, there's no unicorns, or it's not entirely sure what you mean.
Okay. Yareth will just give it a little stretch behind the ears and give it the rest of the bit of food. And just thank you for your time. You've run along safe now.
He'll kind of finish eating the last of the rations and then hop off.
Can I ask something, Ferret, of the others?
Yeah.
Was anyone in particular listening out?
So
No.
Fleet and Phoenix will keep an eye out for unicorns, but they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, listening at what I was saying, I meant.
I mean, you could have gone far enough away they wouldn't disturb. I assume you would have.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So it was like too busy falling into a hole.
I've just seen the things. Cool. Yep. Yeah, Yareth will come back. Just
Alright.
Yareth.
So you carry on, and it's towards the end of the day. You think you're probably in the approximate area of where the Thurwell told you to go. And this ravine isn't hard to find because you definitely feel an increase in temperature, and kind of Urashi will kind of guide you in the general direction of it. And yeah, so you do find this. It's very much just a gash in the land. It looks like some colossal giant took a knife, stabbed into the earth, and kind of tore it open, like a seam in the like clothing or whatever. Yeah, and very much rising out of this ravine, there is quite hot air. It's kind of roughly the same temperature as like a very warm hot spring kind of thing. So like you can put your hand in there for like over the stream for a few seconds. We will have to pull it away before it gets too hot. All except for Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix kind of leans in and just goes, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. You are
Can
here?
we see what's at the bottom?
No. It looks to be very, very deep.
Phoenix will... No, it's only 30 feet. He'll pick up a rock, walk over to Althaea and go, little light?
Oh, yes. Any color of choice?
You can see him catch himself from saying white and just say, any color you think appropriate.
It's gold.
Yeah. You have a golden glowing rock.
Toss it down the ravine.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you kind of drop it down, and it'll kind of hit the side a couple of times. You see it skit, but eventually the light will kind of be consumed by darkness. It vanishes from sight.
Pretty deep.
Very.
Worth exploring.
A job for Moat, perhaps?
That's a very fair point. And click his fingers.
All right.
Moat will appear on my shoulder, and
Okay.
he'll sit down, find a comfortable tree to kind of lean his back against, and then swap perceptions to Moat and have a fly down.
Hey.
Before you go, Moat, I'll hold out a leaf that is now glowing white.
Can you pop up find familiar in the chat just so I can read all the ranges and stuff? How can you see it? To start the next thing,
I can share my senses with it as far as I like. I just can't communicate commands more than 100 feet away.
Yeah, that's just the kind of thing I wanted to.
So basically, the command would be, go as far as you can. When you reach the bottom, come back.
All right. Okay. So.
Or sorry, if you reach the bottom or feel threatened, come back.
Yeah. Okay. So he's a little fire sparrow thing. Yeah. So he starts to flap down, and it's not long before those of you looking down will see him and the little glowing leaf he's holding get swallowed by the darkness as well. Looking in his vision, he kind of keeps going down and down. And he probably stays close enough to one wall, one side of the ravine, so the light will shine that up, but it's wide enough that it wouldn't reach the other. So he keeps going down and down, and all you see is this rocky face of the wall. You get all his senses, right? It's
Yep.
not just sight. Yeah. So you feel the
Sorry, no, see and hear. You can
Okay.
see your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears.
okay. So you don't get touch. Okay. So after he's gone for like maybe half an hour, he seems to be struggling. He kind of seems to be flapping more frantically, and eventually he will give up and have to start flapping back up. When he gets back to you, he will communicate it just got too hot.
That's all right. You did good, buddy. Pat him on the head.
Mhm.
I'll let him stay out for a bit.
You'll kind of tweet. Part of me wants to try a bird call impression, but part of me just like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No, it's more pigeon.
We need to get a sound. We need to get like a sound thing prepared somewhere, like a little sound
yeah.
bite of
Yeah,
a sparrow tweeting.
Bird.
Phoenix will pat him on the head and just say, pretty deep. About an hour flying down. Can I estimate
Half an hour.
the depth? Yeah, half an hour flying down. Can I estimate that rough depth?
Do you happen to know the air velocity of an unladen swallow?
He was laden with a wheat leaf.
Well, it's not just like straight; it's going down. So mile and a half, you reckon he probably went down?
Pretty deep. And it was just rock wall on either side, no kind of caves or widenings or caverns.
Well, as I say, it was wide enough that you could only see the one side. But yeah, you didn't see anything interesting beyond that.
Spooky.
I think we're just looking at a particularly deep ravine. Probably goes down pretty deep. Would explain the beneficial minerals being blasted up here.
Right.
I don't think we're going to find a unicorn here.
They mentioned a pool of some kind. That was around here, wasn't it? Not crazy?
Further to the east,
Yeah, I think we head there.
spring with the minor beneficial properties to certain elements.
Yeah, I think that's probably our next stop. Because unless we're going to try and scale this cliffside, don't seem like the best idea.
Sounds like a plan, chaps.
So you kind of spend the night by this ravine, and
That's another day's rations.
yeah. There we go. Those of you keeping track will realise the month has changed from the morning you woke up. It is now the 1st of Whiterian, the second month of autumn. Whiterian, whatever.
It's your month.
Cool word. It's a word
Yeah.
that sounds cool. Yes.
For what it's worth, anyone that's with Yareth in the evening, like taking watch or whatever, he'll be casually using minor illusion every 6 seconds, altering the casting to just a rabbit, just wandering around every 6 seconds. It animates slightly, hopping around for a little while.
Well, that's going to be my question. What precautions are we taking for sleeping in the forest?
Phoenix is taking his usual nightly ritual and always casting alarm.
Right, so just kind of round where you guys are sleeping. Sure.
Happy to keep
20-foot cube, yeah.
I think he can produce like a 20-foot cube
Yeah.
every 11 minutes.
Oh yeah, you can, can't you? I didn't realize you could have it more than one cast, but you can, can't you? I never took that. Yeah, so you can kind of cover, yeah, 100 foot around where you are, let's say, maybe like 20 foot wide or whatever, a couple cubes wide or whatever. You can do an area around your camp, yeah, for sure.
Yareth would be fine with doing a series of watches, yeah?
Yeah.
If you wish to.
Series of watches, I think, would be good. Even with the alarm spell, can be helpful.
So 4 watches, 5 people. How are we dividing them up? You can tell Urashi to do whatever you want.
Urashi and I will take 1 watch, and then everybody else can do 1.
Fenix will take the first watch, and he'll set up his alarm spells during that time.
Sure.
He also doesn't deal well with having his sleep interrupted.
Actually, no. Urashi can take her own watch. I need to take watch with Yareth. Yareth has our magic box, doesn't he?
I believe it was Urashi.
Yeah, I think Urashi's got the
Because she is strong, girl.
Yes. Then I am taking watch with Urashi. Then never mind. Ignore me.
In terms of magic items, I have an endlessly lit torch, a wand of spells, and my buckle.
And my buckle.
You guys are belt buckle. Fear me.
Fear me and my mighty belt buckle.
It's very rusty.
Not rusty, tarnished.
Yeah. Right.
brass and rust.
So, Phoenix, perception for your watch. Okay, yeah.
Noise.
Okay.
So you watch night kind of fall over this forest, and you thought there was a lot of activity during the day. There is a plethora of nocturnal activity on the scale you are not prepared for. They have like owls and small rodents and stuff in the forest in Weether. Here they have things more akin to tigers and hyenas that will kind of travel around in the evenings. They generally leave you alone because you have a small campfire. They generally seem to know not to mess with you, but you gather if they were desperate.
I am a small
But-
campfire.
Well, you have 2, so they doubly know how to mess with you. But yes, it generally passes uneventfully. You are unmolested. Who was next? Second watch.
I think Ash and I would be, and Fleet would be not paying attention during this watch and instead writing a letter to Hope to put in the box.
So I do 1 perception to Urashi, then not advantage. She rolls
Yeah,
so well.
she's fine. Fleet's writing a letter. It's very important.
Yeah, so you write your letter to Hope, and are you putting in the watch of transfer?
Yes.
Cool. If there's any specific in the letter, let me know. Maybe it's generic then, it's fine.
It's generic.
Sure. Yes, your watch will also pass uneventfully. Who is next?
Yareth will go. Yeah.
Yeah, Althaea likes to see the sunrise.
Shouldn't have been to advantage, but 11.
Much like Phoenix, you get a general impression that there are things definitely moving out there. However, you don't really get an idea what they are. And you probably get a bit spooked out by, there's things out there, I can't see them. You don't necessarily know that they're going to leave you alone, but
Yeah.
the 2 hours pass nervously, but uneventfully.
Yeah.
There.
Yareth will mostly be content reading and
Sure.
polishing the belt buckle.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No. I'm aware.
Out there. Yeah.
Noise.
So you kind of witness kind of the crossover between the nightlife and the morning life. So it's kind of the twilight hours. So you get creatures kind of such as deer that are more active and rabbits that are kind of more active during these twilight hours. And yeah, you see lots of them. Oh, it's a deer, it's a rabbit. You have a jolly good time. watching all these interesting creatures.
Is it like Princess Fauna?
Not quite. There's probably a couple of nasty things as well. You just don't pay attention to them. You kind of gloss over them. But yeah. The night will end. You will rise relatively fine. The night seemed to have passed uneventfully. You guess it's approximately another day's journey to where the river supposedly was.
And we're close. Good.
Yeah.
I imagine Ash is taking the lead again.
Right.
Happily.
So I'll roll survival for Ash. Anybody else doing anything else as you travel?
Phoenix, having been reminded that they exist, will be sending Moat out to scout every so often, hopefully providing Urashi a bit of information to help.
Yeah. All right. Roll perception for Moat then.
That's better than mine.
Anybody else?
Althaea will just sort of be wandering along with Yareth.
Fleet is
not doing anything.
Fleet is going to take today to take some stress off of Urashi's shoulders and keep Althaea away from any ditches.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, it's not doing anything in particular.
Okay, so Urashi rolled poorly in her survival check. So, let's throw you here. Riley, can you name a complication that arose during your journey through these woods?
I mean, most large talk is we took a wrong turn off a path and ended up looping around, wasting probably a good hour or two. Ended up doubling back on ourselves accidentally.
All right. Nat, can you name something that you or another party member did to help rectify this situation?
Well, we have the advantage of the little of moat. I think between what's it? I think I think using sort of moat and I think Yareth, Phoenix, and Althaea can all produce some sort of temporary physical effect.
Yeah.
We start making sort of a trail to make sure this thing doesn't happen again.
Cool. Yeah. So you're kind of like Hansel and Gretel trail of breadcrumbs to make sure you're not looping round, kind of thing. Right. Britty, can you name something interesting you saw while this little diversion was going on?
Well, I'm assuming it can't be anything unicorn related.
No.
So, what kind of animals would be hanging around in the Falthorn Woods? Just your normal forest typey animals?
So, forest, jungle kind of thing. But there's also, some more interesting monster manual, creatures that you can imagine might be in a forest. You might see signs of a hill giant, maybe. Various beasts and atrocities that you can imagine. Like,
I think a large herd of elk with one very regal looking one at the head.
sure. Yeah, so this kind of herd of elk kind of passes by. And this kind of, especially regal one, will you kind of lock eyes with it, Fleet, and you kind of nod at it, and you swear it could have nodded back at you before it moves on. Matt, can you describe how the party members reacted once they'd finally made sure they were back on the right path and you knew you were good again?
I imagine for Urashi it will be a sense of playing it off, like, we had to go around there because of all the dangers we had to get by.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It'll be everyone else kind of not believing her, but various stages of
tries to bluster it off.
We'll let her have this one.
Yeah. Okay. So, aside from that one diversion, you kind of push on for a little bit more to make up for lost time, as you kind of get to your second location a bit later than you might have anticipated. But get there you do. This one's it's kind of roughly as easy to find, because whereas that one's a ravine, is a big landmark. This is a valley, so it's a big landmark. And if you're heading in the right direction, you'll kind of stumble across it. Much as the Furbowl described, there is a kind of little babbling brook that kind of it seems to stem towards kind of the source seems to be towards the top of this valley, and it kind of runs down it. And yeah, and indeed, kind of towards the top, there are a collection of strange white rocks that this brook passes over.
Well, I don't suppose anyone's got any diseases need curing.
That is a sight.
It's quite pretty.
If we think that this is going to be our best option, then how do we want to set up camp?
The
I
guy said
guess?
the tree would probably be your best option.
Well, it depends. Depends what we think. This seems to be natural, as far as we can tell, and the other one was created by a druid. Don't know which one unicorns are more attracted to. The druidic nature or apparently natural magic. Well, if the story
nature?
restorative water are to be believed. No real way to test that unless one of you is secretly sick and hasn't been telling us.
As far as I know, I'm not sick.
No, only thing that to do is, and it's morbid, stab oneself and stick the hand in.
I mean, I believe our furball friend did specifically say illnesses, not...
Yes, Yes.
I don't think stab
You
is
seem
an
to be
illness.
suffering from a rare case of the randomly stabbed plague.
Yes. It's very common around QU, don't you guys know it?
Seem to come down with a case of death. Oh no, how awful.
It's okay though. He's only mostly dead.
I'm not dead! So,
Sometimes I can still hear Phoenix's voice on the wind.
Oh no.
I guess I don't know. They said provide services, tend the grove. This place doesn't look like it needs much tending.
Can I look around for any signs of animal life? Maybe hoof prints, perhaps?
Your choice of nature or survival.
Nature or survival? I know which one I'm
I
going to
think
pick.
this is something that Urashi would help you with. So you
I
can have
will-
advantage.
I will take that
I don't-
advantage.
I don't think it's unreasonable to say she would do that.
Phoenix will
No.
send a note off and have a little scout around, see if we can find anything that looks off.
We're very proud of you.
Okay.
We found shit.
I mean, there's definitely life around here. Because there's trees. There must be animals. Logically. That's about all you get.
Yeah.
A perception from Moat. Yeah, you're specifically looking for anything that might be off. He kind of goes up above the canopies and kind of has a look down on the sea of trees. It seems fine to start off with, or at least from that vantage point, as he kind of flutters back down. He basically does a big spiral as he kind of investigates your immediate area and kind of the area surrounding this valley. You can't see anything that we would describe as out of the ordinary. It does particularly bad. I mean, he at one point sees like a what would it be? Let's say he sees a bear that's kind of just wandering around. That's not necessarily wrong with nature. Let's say it's
No.
just thing that happens.
Nothing looks off or out of place, or
Not that he sees, no.
that might pose a problem. Can't really see anything that needs fixing here. Everything seems well in hand.
I would still like to camp the night just in case something comes by.
Watch out for a bear, but other than that, seems pretty quiet around here. So it's getting late.
All right.
Out of curiosity, Phoenix would walk over to the water and have a drink.
Tastes like, pretty nice, clean spring water. It doesn't seem to, like, most rivers where eventually it's so far in the source, it's probably quite muddy. This seems pretty clean. So you have a nice drink. It's quite refreshing. So are we setting up for the night?
I'd
Yeah.
imagine so.
Cool. Is anybody doing not the routine then?
Well, I'm not writing a letter this time, so I'll actually be paying attention.
Sure. In that case, we'll do watches then. Can everyone roll me their perceptions for watches?
Yeah.
So first watch is Phoenix. Let me roll for Urashi. Then Althaea. Are you taking watch? I mean, you could say no. There are 5 of you, so could do it like that.
I think we let Phoenix go, and oh no, he just goes first, doesn't he? Yeah, never mind.
Well, yeah. We've got his perception. Like, might as well just roll yours now. Right.
Not paying attention tonight.
Yeah. So, Phoenix, your watch will pass uneventfully. You don't really see as much as you do before, but it's possibly that the sound of the brook is distracting you and you can't hear as well. And it's just generally putting you off, let's say. So you don't think you're doing as good a job as you might. Fleet and Urashi, who rolled the only good perception checks.
We see everything.
Yeah. And your watch, you will notice the bear will mosey on over. He'll kind of just stick his nose out of the bush. He'll have a sniff. But then he will kind of decide not to threaten you and will carry on his way. But you two do get a better general vibe. Aside from bear, another particularly interesting creature that you notice. Fleet, you will see this. There is a distinctly large snake that will kind of work its way up the brook. It looks to be about 7 feet long. It won't pay you any mind. It will just kind of slither past you up the stream. You don't see it again though. But yeah, there's something interesting you notice. Riley and Althaea, your watches will pass uneventfully. You don't really get a whole lot. Much like Phoenix, you're just distracted by the noise of the brook. And it kind of, you keep looking over there. Then you look in the campfire, and so then when you look back out, your eyes have adjusted and you can't see well in the dark. And yeah, it's a whole ordeal, and you don't think you do a particularly good job. But when it will come, you don't think anything bad happened, despite the fact you couldn't see it happening if it did.
And no unicorn.
No, not that you can see.
Well, we can't know if we'd wait here long enough, one might show up, but certainly doesn't seem like we can perform any sort of service to speed that along.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to look at this last spot and kind of hope at this point.
We can always come back to this one and the other if needs be.
All right. one more day of travel. If Urashi's guiding, I'll roll over her again.
Another day of rations.
10. Okay. Anybody else doing anything else?
Scouting ahead with Moat again. Seemed to work pretty well last time.
Okay, 7.
No, 16. Moat always has advantage on perception checks.
Oh, of course he does. Yes, keep going. Yeah. All right. 16. Yeah. So, Rashi takes you. She guides you a bit better today. She doesn't get lost. It's not the best going. There are a few rough patches that, if she was on a game as on the first day, you think she might have been able to take you around. There's a particular point where you kind of accidentally stumble into this kind of little mini clearing where there appears to be several kind of hyena, jackal, kind of dog-like creatures seem to be digging into some kind of felled prey item, and they kind of chase you off. You'll kind of back away slowly, but you definitely irritate them, and they get all defensive. But nothing too bad happens. But eventually, Moat will see something curious that attracts his attention. This is about 6 in the evening, probably towards when you'd be thinking of stopping anyway. You think you might be a little bit out from the grove based on the Furbog's estimation. So you're trying to push on a bit further, or only might just to see if you can get there today. However, as I say, you're almost there when Moat sees something interesting. It is what appears to be clearing. And inside this clearing there is a campfire. Currently roasting over the campfire is this kind of butchered deer. It seems to be like kind of a whole roast. It seems to be like turning on this spit. There is a roughly humanoid creature that seems to be turning it. However, as Moat gets closer for a better look, it is not a humanoid creature you've ever seen. It is furry. It's covered in this kind of grey-brown, dirty fur. It's got these kind of rounded ears, and it's got this extended canine-like snout. And you can see as it's salivating over the smell of its meal. It's got these sharp little pointy teeth, quite a lot of them. It seems to be dressed in kind of rags, like scraps of leather armor. You doubt it made them based on the kind of physicality of this creature. It doesn't look none too intelligent. As you observe this, several more will enter this little clearing. 6 of them in total. And then something you didn't initially notice will kind of grab your attention. On the opposite side of the clearing to Moat, one of these hyena-like humanoids will approach a tree. Now, this tree has a line of stakes kind of surrounding it. The stakes are only about a foot high and a foot apart. They kind of form a square. And as you kind of look within this square, the hyena-like beast will kind of reach out with this spear, and it'll kind of jab into something that seems to be hiding under the boughs of the tree that you can't currently Moat can't currently look at. However, as this hyena-like thing stabs into under this tree, kind of you will notice a he'll hear a noise. It sounds kind of whinny-ish, but it's incredibly faint. And you'll notice emerging from this tree, under this tree, kind of into the kind of the main area that's been sectioned off by these stakes. There is I mean, you've never seen one before, but you can't imagine this is not a unicorn. It's got this incredibly pure white fur. It's got these golden mane that puts Althaea to shame. It has a regal bearing by the way it stands, and it has this glorious silver horn that extends out of its forehead. However, you generally say these described as majestic beasts. However, this one seems to have been laid low. There are numerous injuries, cuts, scrapes. It looks like it's been abused. And around its neck, there is a kind of almost over large manacle, kind of clamps around it, and a chain will kind of trail behind it, and it seems to be attached to an actual tree.
Phoenix will bring the group to a stop.
Better idea of exactly how it's looking.
Phoenix will bring the group to a stop, and well, good news and bad news. I found a unicorn.
That's fantastic. What's the bad news?
It's captured by creatures I've never seen before.
What they look like?
Best I can describe them, humanoid dogs.
Does that ring a bell to any of us?
Fleet and Urashi, being from the Badlands, can make nature checks. I'll roll for Urashi.
There's no way that Althaea would know.
We have no idea.
Wow.
No, you wouldn't have been exposed to these creatures before. And Fleet and Urashi, they shrug.
So you said it was clear from the way I saw them that they didn't build this camp?
They didn't make the kind of scraps of armor they're wearing.
Oh no, but they did set up the spit and the.
Yeah, you reckon they probably would have set up the spit and the actual fire.
From the look of things, intelligent enough to be dangerous, but not.
I mean, they had weapons.
Not he'll tap his head. Not maybe the bookish types. They seem pretty distracted by the unicorn, although we probably don't want to linger very long. From the way they're cooking those deer, I'd say I know what's next on the menu. But we probably want to approach this smart if we don't want them to start using it as a hostage. As he casts mage armor on himself. So, any ideas?
Well, trying to be quiet sounds good if we think that they are possibly going to be doing something bad.
I mean, if we think it's worth a shot, I mean, I've never seen these creatures before, but I know a good trick of, knowing any language that I need to. If it's worth the attempt at negotiation.
These are creatures who have captured a unicorn. I don't think negotiation is exactly on the table, do you?
I mean, from the look of them, they might just consider this any other creature to eat. Might be able to trade something of similar value.
Can I ask, chap, that magic that lets you understand, does that let them understand you? Otherwise, negotiations are going to be a little fraught.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, well. Might still be worth it just so we know what they're talking about.
True.
I mean, I don't think we got a lot of time here, but I recommend you guys prepare how you can. He'll sit down and start casting ritual casting comprehend languages.
Sure.
Prepare for an altercation just in case, I guess. I will cast Armor of Adithis at 2nd level. Because all my spell slots are at 2nd level.
Yeah.
Doing 10 temporary hit points.
I'm going to check my shoes because everybody else is preparing magic stuff, so I'm just being
Sure,
ready.
your shoes are working.
Yes.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Yareth will then just tap the belt buckle and read down a spell slot before we go into combat.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. What is the plan then to approach?
What spell slot have you used today?
You just
To cast
used Armor of
Adithis
Adithis.
just
Ah,
now.
right, yes, sorry.
Okay, so is the next plan to approach these creatures?
I believe so, yes.
Might want to send.
How far away roughly are we from by foot?
Like half a mile. Moat was kind of scouting on ahead.
Cool. Please alert me from when we're a minute away.
Okay.
Say, right, Yareth is probably also worth.
Armor of Adithis lasts an hour.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we can cover half a mile in less than an hour.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're
15
walking.
minutes. Possibly a bit longer in through this dense undergrowth, but yeah. Okay. So as you start to make your way towards it, that'll be where we end today's session.
Fair enough. Seems
Yeah.
like a good place as any.
I mean, we don't really have time for entire combat. But
No.
No.
I'd rather have our barbarian here when that happens.
Yes, please. We love the barbarian.
I did balance it for either of you. Yeah. That was fun. It was a good session. Hope you enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Inspiration. So, for those of you who don't know, at the end of the game, I like to give a little reward to players who had particularly good moments, maybe did a good RP, maybe a particularly groan-worthy joke, that kind of thing. Yes, so I'll ask all my players to vote on a different player, and whoever gets the most gets inspiration, which we had a few use tonight. Basically, when you're on a die, you can say, I don't like that, I want to reroll. And I'll also ask you, the audience, to have a quick vote. So 2 inspirations will be handed out to the winner of the player vote and the audience vote. So, Britty, you can do that poll in chat, please.
I'm working on it.
Cool. Who do you want to go first? Matt, who are you voting for?
Ooh, I think it's between you and Althaea for just general Kasmir interactions with the hometown. I'll say, yeah, Althaea. Actually, no. We got a bit of Yareth today. I like the bit of Yareth we saw. So
Right.
I'm throwing mine in Yareth's way.
Cool. Alrighty.
For the reasons that Matt just said, I'm going for Althaea. If I could give 2, then you would also do it. But
Right.
loved the home reaction. RP.
Nat.
Yareth, that voice. My God.
Right.
I'll never tell.
And Britty.
I have to give it to Althaea for the combination of the home roleplay, which was fantastic, and natdance.mp4.
That's
So,
not even part of the game.
Still counts.
That's bad Twitch etiquette. The viewers don't even get to see that. unless
Still
it's on our
counts.
page. Can we post that?
up on the stream? Actually, no. So
No.
No. Face reveals at 100 subscribers.
Yeah, we get to 100 subs.
Subscribers. We're not even affiliate yet.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a tie, so I get to break it. I like the home RP from Nat playing with some of what I put down, stuff we hadn't necessarily prepared in advance. So I'm going to give it to you.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I will endeavour to actually try and make some pottery as well. See if I can get my hands on some
You
clay.
don't have to.
Oh no, I want to. No, I need something to do.
Jeez.
something to do, in it?
Yeah.
So,
something to do.
I've got a couple of things to say at the end of the stream. The first is an apology through my own, what can we describe as my own towering stupidity. I have lost the VODs for episodes 4 and 6. And there's nowhere to get them back, as far as I'm aware. So, it makes that a bit difficult to put on YouTube. So what I plan on doing is basically doing maybe a 20-30 minute kind of session recap. So it's me and the mic. I'll be on Roll20 using some like the maps and stuff and kind of a general gist of what happened from my own notes and kind of try and recreate it for YouTube. Be nowhere near as good as a full VOD, but hopefully it'll be something to kind of catch up on what actually happened as best as I can manage. I apologise for that as much as I can. As I say, it's my own towering stupidity that has happened. So all hate goes my way.
These things happen.
I mean, yeah, but they shouldn't. The second one is a lot more positive. And last stream we said we might be doing it last week, which it didn't happen. But this week we definitely plan on having a second stream. So it'll be Saturday, 8 o'clock. It will be me, Britty, and a collection of the others. And yeah, so we'll be having us. It'll be us chatting. We'll try to chat, hopefully, if there is any chatters. And yeah, it will just be us, talking about the game, talking about D&D, other stuff in general. So if that sounds like a good time, come along. It'll be Saturday, 8 o'clock UK time, so it's GMT at the moment. Be about an hour and a half. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. We've not done one of these before. We don't know. We're amateurs. Yes. If you think it could be fun, please do come along. I will put that on YouTube as well. I don't know if people are interested, but I will. I believe Britty's put them in chat, but yeah, do check out our Twitter at unrolling_with_it for announcements such as when VODs go live, updates as the stream goes live. Second stream, I'll post who's actually going to attending close to the time. Go check out our YouTube, for these VODs to catch up. Good to plug into your friends so they know what's going on. Any feedback you can give me or the stream, it's always appreciated. I can't change them. I don't know what's wrong. Share with your friends, share with your family, share with your grandma. Thank you very much. See you guys next time. Oh,
Yeah.
we have a tie between me and Riley, so it goes to Riley.
Thank you very much, Twitch chat. It is appreciated.
Right, yeah, cool. Thank you all very much. Yeah, Saturday, hopefully. If not, Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye.